2nd of January 2026. Woo! Let's go. 2026. Holy cow. 2016 was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was in second year at one of the oldest drama school in the country, Italia Conti, where I was doing my 3-year BA honours in acting. And that's, when I think about it now, and I'm at 30, I just turned 30 a week ago, last week. And there are times when I'm thinking, why have I not got more to show for it? You know, I'm doing my tax return, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh man, I'm coming down to the wire again. Every year, I'm coming right down to the wire. Financially. And I'm looking at my calendar today, I've got a first day back doing lessons today, so I've got 2 or 3 lessons. A couple of my oldest clients, actually, they're the ones who booked in first for the year, which is great to see. One of them got me this cool calendar. You can see here. Look at this monster. That's from a lovely lad that I've been teaching for a couple of years now, teaching acting. And yeah, I'm going to be seeing him today. Got a lesson with him today. So the calendar is not very full this week coming up. And it's always like that. It's always fairly quiet this time of year. But seeing the bank balance, doing the tax return, looking at my calendar, thinking about where have the last 30 years gone? What's going on? Why am I not a bajillionaire yet? Why am I not a movie star? Why am I not a rock star? Why am I not whatever? Well, I'm not a rock star because I've never played a musical instrument. But what I do have going for me is that I'm not somebody who found acting or found this sort of path later on in life or tried other stuff first and decided, you know what, I'm going to go for that. I came into this ever since I was a little kid at primary school. Walking home, talking to my mum about what do you want to do? Where should I go? What should I do with my life? What do I want to do for work? And I was thinking about doctor, lawyer, super soldier, assassin. That's what when in year 7 we had to write what our dream job was. I put assassin. I didn't want to be assassin. I don't want to kill people. I don't want to hurt people. But I wanted to be James Bond. and then I was thinking, where can I do all these things? Where do I see all these things? What gives me the impression I want to do those things? It's actors. I'm seeing actors, movies, TVs, plays, theatre, stories, writing. So this first 30 years of my life, pretty much balls to the wall, has all been acting, character work, writing, language, articulation, voice, speech. Learning that stuff inside out to levels that it's taken me to so many crazy places and into so many areas and realms of the topic that I couldn't fathom originally. And at times I would have thought those things were totally separate, like public speaking. I'd have a gift for public speaking because of acting, but then the difference with public speaking is you're not playing another character, you're just playing yourself. But then acting, you're playing yourself, but you're bringing out these different characters that are within you. And I used to think it was like something you put the mask on, and with the mask of the character, that gives you permission to do all these crazy voices and movements and things. But now thinking about it, in fact, I came to this realization a few years ago, in drama school probably, or just after. It's not that I was putting a mask on, it's that the character created an outlet for those characters that were within me, those facets of my character. And then you can push them out and make them so extreme, people would think it's unrecognizable. But it would always be recognizable to me that's a part of me, that's a part of myself that I'm just bringing out for this role. So when I'm thinking about how I've invested my time and has it been worthwhile, in 2019 or 2018, I remember writing out goals for the next 5 years and how I wanted to become a master at writing. So I was going to write hours every day. I was going to practice my reading, practice my acting, and build up those skills and start my own thing, my own sort of business, carve out my own niche. But I didn't really get serious about that until 2020 when I lost my job at the theatre, or the acting stuff closed down, and I was wanting to make some money, work on my skills. And so I started doing the coaching. And I'm trying to hold the thread of the thought here. Where was I going with this? And then so the last few years, basically, I wanted to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30. And I started to get really serious about it 3 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I was like, how can I actually really make it happen in the next 3 or 4 years? It's like that 30 wall is getting closer and closer. How am I going to make it happen? And while it's not happened, I realized that the way I've been thinking about it was very wrong. Being an actor, being a writer, being something of a poet, I was very poetical about it. And that's something when I was reviewing the other week, putting in all my logs, I keep these lengthy logs, I put in all these detailed notes. When I put them into ChatGPT and I got the analysis, what's wrong with this guy? Metacognition, what are the problems? What are the patterns? What do you see happening? I'm thinking about it in this artist point of view, much less so in this engineering point of view, much less so. I'm speaking more in the language of the tone, the vibe, the quality of things, and the poetifying everything. Not so much just the hard language, the facts of the work that needs to be done, the precise actions and steps that need to be taken to get there. And so while I'm not rolling in dosh right now, the 7 figures with the bank account or whatever, I do believe, and this is my crazy claim. Call me naive, call me stupid. Say it's just a cope. It's just my cope because I didn't get to be a millionaire, so this is just my way of coping. But I do think I am a millionaire. I think I'm rich. And I think my wealth has come from the skills that I've gained, the knowledge that I've learned, the awarenesses that I have. And I think off the back of those, I can make millions. I don't think it's unreasonable. I don't think it's outlandish. I think it's very, very reasonable, actually. And then when I was thinking about it, something with manifestation, and this is the problem, you're always talking about manifestation, not talking about the actual steps, but the nuance with manifestation that a lot of people don't get, and the use of your mind and visualization is, it's not the exact thing that you're trying to picture. When you're thinking in the long term of those big dream goals, it's the quality of the spiritual energy, the spiritual movement, the influx and flow that is extending into that thought that's creating that image. And so for a number of years, I've been focused on, maxing out the wealth and maxing out getting to be a millionaire by 30. And now I'm here. I do think I've been successful. It's like, what kind of crazy delusional shit is this? But yes, you were just saying you're broke. I think I've been successful in the everything I've gathered. You know, I would see people on YouTube and I would see people that I'm learning from. I'd buy courses and stuff, and just watching what's out there on the market. Some of the biggest followers, the biggest people with names and brands and whatever. And I'm seeing what they're putting out. And honestly, I don't think it's that great. And they've done the whole, you know, they've stuck to their posting. They've stayed super consistent with that. And obviously I haven't. But what I have been doing is putting huge amounts of time, effort, and energy. I've never had a plan B. I don't care about plan B. But you're doing coaching, isn't that plan B because you wanted to do acting? It's like, no, I'm an actor who coaches. But what have you been in? I've not seen you in shows, I've not seen you in movies, I've not seen you in whatever. There have been opportunities. There have been things offered to me that I didn't take because, or I wanted to take, but they wouldn't take me in the end. They'd offer and then not take me in because I didn't get a vaccine or whatever. But that quality, that idea of self-education, knowing that in my 20s I'm going to have a certain amount of energy that I want to spend on learning as much as I can. Because I'd see this content and I'm going, it's, why is it like so much of it's so generic and so much the same, and loads of it is just like basic level, and they'll sell it to you like it's like the most mind-blowing stuff, it's the best, this is the thing that will absolutely change your storytelling game. This is like, once you get this in your character, people are going to be addicted to your words, your language. And then the stuff they're giving out, it's not the best stuff. It's not even close to the stuff I've seen, the stuff I've practiced, and the stuff I teach. There's my pride coming out there. Because I haven't spent as much time and energy on the posts, on the consistency, on the marketing. I could have done, but I wanted to allocate more energy into the learning, into the seeking, into the practice, and just basically quietly behind the scenes building something really, really great and unique and powerful that does work for everybody, gets amazing results if people do the practice and if they get the context. And that's what I need to do now. That's what I'm going to try and do this year, is be giving the context for it. The context, the practices, the whole playbook. The whole freaking thing for free. And I'll sell things. I've got some ideas to sell things. I'm working on some things I'm going to sell. I'm selling my courses, obviously. You can buy coaching courses with me. They're pretty good, putting it lightly. There's the guides and stuff I want to make. But if I wanted to learn, like really go deep into learning the marketing side and learning the analytics and learning this and learning that, I'm not saying I won't have had time to have done better in that regard. I have wasted time. I have. Wrong habits, wrong people, wrong places, wrong things, all that kind of stuff. But from the time that I did spend then, I would have had to allocate that away from what I've learned and onto more the marketing side. And to me, I always just felt like, and this is something, maybe you don't believe in astrology, but Capricorns is about, with a goat, we climb the mountain. So I've just been climbing this mountain nice and quiet in the background. And this year, 2026, I'm going to be stepping into the foreground now. And I'm going to be touting my wares. I've been on the journey. I went through the jungle. I climbed to the top of the mountain. I got the precious gem. And now I'm coming back to the village and I'm going to be doling stuff out for all the villagers. So I could have learned more of the marketing stuff. I could be further along. I could have a bigger following. I could be able to sell more stuff right now. But I wouldn't be able to speak as freely as I am now on camera. I wouldn't be able to riff on ideas and topics, and I wouldn't be able to act and perform, and I wouldn't be able to understand individuals to the level that I can when I'm teaching, to know what their blocks are and what it is that needs to be done, and the precise things I need to say to them to get them past it and to get them to move on and take the steps they need to take to change their character. When I started looking into this a few years ago, I say a few years ago, really since I was, like I said, primary school, but I'd say 14 is when things really ramped up for me. When I was like, I decided I was gonna ride or die for acting, whatever that turned out being. And I was looking into like Steven Berkoff, these dramatists, these theatre practitioners, Stanislavski, Meisner, I'm trying to remember all their names, all their techniques and all their whatevers. But not only them, like, I'm interested in people with real character, like these old RSC actors like Ian McKellen, like John Barton, founder of the RSC, like all of that sort of ilk of stuff, that classical theatre training. And then I'm interested in game. I'm interested in what makes people attractive, what makes people master seducers, what makes people able to build a cult following. I don't want to build a cult. I'm already regretting saying that word on the camera because somebody at some point in the future could clip it, and but that's just that voice, that editor voice, like panicking for me. And to do it all the right way, and to do it in a way that can actually help people, but to answer all these questions, because it always seemed to me that this was the one thing. It's not just acting, not just like faking stuff. What I learned about acting very quickly was that it's not about faking, it's about telling the truth. And if you think it's about faking and pretending, that might be what's keeping you stuck. When you think about changing your voice or changing your accents or changing the way you're perceived by others, your body language, your facial expressions, your tone of voice, all this stuff, oh, well, that's faking. So make it real. Make it real. But that feels weird. Well, then give up then. If it feels weird, if it feels inauthentic, oh, but I tried this extra volume, it just felt a bit inauthentic, so I'm just going to go back to being me, just stay in my safe little comfort zone, stay in my safe space, not change, not try anything new, and I'll just build on what I have. It's to see it, because you might hear me say that, and you might think that's justifiable. Yeah. Why? Yeah, well, you don't want to go too over the top with things, Liam, and have it feel inauthentic. Why do you want me to feel inauthentic? You have to feel what's inauthentic and then know how to look inside and go, why is it inauthentic? What am I faking now? What am I pretending to give up that I'm not giving up, that I actually do need to give up, that I don't want to give up? What's the cost? Everything has a cost to it. And this is the magic of it. Some of these shows with magic, like The Witcher, and they'll talk about how to do spells and enchantments and potions and all this stuff. And what they often talk about is there's a cost to everything. I was watching The Last Kingdom again last night, one of my favorite shows. Just watch it over and over again. I barely watch anything else besides the things that I actually like, because it's just a study for me now. I've seen Last Kingdom like 5 times all the way through. Probably another reason I'm not rolling in dosh, but there's this scene where they have to save this baby, and this witch does a spell. And when she's preparing the spell, she breaks down and starts crying. And then Uhtred asks her, what's wrong? And she goes, in order to save this life, a life must be taken. And she's grieving for that child, the strangest child that she's going to take, the life that she's going to take with the spell. And she knows it with such faith. She's an interesting character. Isolde, the Shadow Queen, the Britannic mage, Shadow Queen. Ancient people, the Britons. The original people on the island here in the UK, England. Cornwall, she was from. And she knows that to save this child's life, she's going to have to take a life. And it's this idea in The Witcher, they'll do spells, and when they want to do something, they have to bring certain materials to their lessons, which they're then going to use to do some sort of magic spell. And it will consume that material and produce the magic. And sometimes it's things that people don't want to give up, like a bit of gold or silver, like something valuable. Or something very hard to get. You have to climb up to the top of a mountain and get some little leaf. But when you're going up and down there, it's like hardly anybody survives it. And you get back, you get this leaf. You might try the spell and you might even fail at it. But you're more likely to succeed if you actually get the right material. Every time you open your mouth, every time you speak, all the time, you are just sitting here right now. It's a sort of magic in a way. You are seeing pixels coming off the screen. You're just looking at a display of light in front of you. And then this display of light and these vibrations just tapping on your eardrums is going into you. It's guiding your mind and your attention, and it's changing things on the inside of you. You're being changed right now while you're listening to this. You'll be getting better or you'll be getting worse. You won't be staying the same. That's one thing that will not be happening right now. And at any time, we're always in this constant shifting state of getting better or getting worse. Getting stronger, getting weaker, getting lighter, getting darker. And hopefully my words are going to help you get lighter. That's what I hope for. And that's what it's all about. But in order for me to give off this light, I have to expend energy. I have to give something up. It's costing me stuff to be talking. And it's costing you something to be listening. So thank you for listening. So anytime you want to change your character, you want to change your voice, you want to change the way you're perceived, bearing in mind you're not in control of how others perceive you, but you can send signals to them that will make them change their perception of you. There's a cost to it. And if you're trying things with your voice and it feels uncomfortable, you probably aren't expending the right cost. You're not making the sacrifice necessary. And if you in your practice, and really this is the majority of what I'm teaching, is how to be able to know what it is to in your own practice. This is what I'm talking about with a speech smith. I want you to be a speech smith. What's a speech smith? A speech smith is someone who can work on their speech to change the way they're talking and moving, to calibrate to any environment, any audience, and to meet their own objective as well, in a way that's ethical. But I can't decide the way you should speak, because truthfully, I don't know. I'm not God. Shocker. But you're created unique. I'm getting away from the religious context of that. Every DNA, every cell in your body, in the nucleus of that cell, there's a unique DNA code that isn't anywhere else in the universe. It's just there in you. And so when we're working as a speechsmith, you're working to bring out and activate that DNA and remove the blocks to your sound, your movement, the vision of who you actually are coming to fruition and manifesting out into your body, in your voice, in your movements, more and more and more and more and more and more and more, until you can use the full range of your instrument. The full range. And there's a reason for everything you're doing it. Like now I'm going up and down with the volume in my voice, and a lot of people might not do that because there's no place, there's nothing inside them where they can put their heart behind it and say, this is worth the volume. This is worth the facial expressions and the body language and all this kind of stuff. Because they haven't found it yet, because they haven't looked within yet, or because they just don't know what is worth that to them in their heart. Or if they do, they're like, oh, but I keep that quietly inside myself, and I just, I'm just not one of those loud people. I'm just not. You're so trapped. You're so encaged. And you're so unwilling to be uncomfortable. And what blows my mind about it is it's like alone in your room with no one watching. You don't want to go and push the boat out a little bit on some text because it'll feel inauthentic. No one's watching you. You can't do it when no one's watching you. Of course you can't do it when people are watching you. Of course you can't. Of course you can't do it in a situation which demands it. That on the other side of it is that thing that you could really, it would be worth it. But for some reason, your mind, you've made these blocks and this rigid idea of who you are, this ego, this inversion grid within you. And exactly the thing you're trying to get, and the thing that you value most, because of the way your mind is looking at it, you're inverting it, and that's exactly the thing that's keeping you stuck. I worked something out a long time ago, and that is that if you want something, really, really want something, you have to be willing to not have it. You have to be willing to. And I get the perspective because I can hear the voice in my own head going, no, but it has to be not okay. You would rather die than lose that thing. If you're dead, you can't have it though, can you? So it's like, that has to be the final option. It's those two things at once. You have to be okay not having it in order to get it. Like if you go to a job and you really need the job, and you've got the stink of death on you, they're probably not going to give you the job, and you're not going to be able to think clearly in the interview, and you're going to be all needy and stuff, and they're going to get this weird vibe and energy off you, and you won't get the job. You have to be okay not getting the job. If it's not right, that's the nuance. If you don't deserve it, you have to be okay to not have the thing if you don't deserve it. Because then that makes you willing to do what is required to receive that thing, to get that thing. This is respect. It's about respect. You have to look back, respect, again, spect, look again. Look again at these things. Oh, well, doing this body language thing, or like thinking of like an animal and like trying to do this, I'm just worried it will come off kind of weird and come off like whatever. It's like, so you're just gonna stay as you are with the bad posture and the self-protecting gestures and hand movements and stuff. You don't want to try this thing. But then I won't. But then that's going to have the opposite, because if I mess it up, then I won't look confident with my body language. I'm going to look unconfident. You got to be willing to give that up. You got to be willing to go, fine, I'm going to be unconfident trying it. You have to be willing to go swim out into the middle of the ocean and be paddling there and the sharks are swimming underneath you. And nobody wants to do that. To be trying this thing and have people look at them and go like, why are they moving so weird? Why do they look so freaking weird? And I've been through that so much. And now people just think to me now, they just say to me now that, oh, but you're just like that. No. Yes, yes. And you're like that too. But you've got this other stuff in the way, and it's your mind. It's your mind is in the way. It's your mind, your ego, your fragile sense of self. It's so rigid and so stuck. And that you're putting all these limitations because you're so afraid. You're so afraid of feeling awkward, of feeling inauthentic, of being in the uncanny valley, of having other people look at you and go, yeah, that's not right. That's your feedback. That's how you know what it is you need to do. Because when you feel that, that uncomfortable feeling, look at it. Look at the feeling. What's in the feeling? Look in the feeling. What do you see there? You see that you lack something. What do you lack? What is it that you're trying to compensate for? What would it mean for you to stop trying to compensate for it and just be it and just do it and just say to the rest of the world, no, sorry, this is me actually. I know it doesn't look like it and I know it's coming out awkward and I know it's coming out weird, but it is there and it's coming out. And maybe this isn't the right way for it to come out right now. And maybe it is, I am second guessing myself and I am doubting myself and it does look weird and you are making judgments and you are thinking that looks weird and stupid and pathetic and it gives you the exact opposite of what you're wanting, but you know it's in there and you're going to try stuff, you're going to try and get it out and not be like everyone else who doesn't even try to get it out, who just stays trapped. Don't do that. Don't shrink from that uncomfortable feeling. That feeling, that is the gold. That feeling where everyone's looking at you or you say something weird in that weird tone of voice and everyone's thank God for that feeling, because when you look at it, you go, all the information's in there. You go, yeah, I'm just not, it was inauthentic because it was like that slowness. I was trying to sound slow and measured and in control, and it just came off like weird and awkward. Or I was just pausing. This is one people do. Oh, to get more gravitas and authority, I'll pause between my words. And then the people have switched off. They're like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, he's all gravitas and blah, blah. And then you're oh. I don't know, it just seemed awkward. Like, I'll just go back to the way I was doing it before. Stop. Look. Why is the pause uncomfortable for you? Why is it not coming out authentic? You're not paying the cost. You're putting on a fucking act. You're acting. Stop acting. You have to act. You're going to act. And there are these times where it's like, it will be authentic, and then the next second you'll go into inauthenticity. And you might have been authentic for 10 minutes, and then you go into inauthenticity for a split second, and then people sense it, and they're like, oh. And then you crumble, and you go inwards. I want to use stronger language, and this is something that you're going to start seeing more from me. But I could go really, really hard on this right now. It's all there in that feeling, that feeling of self-consciousness, that feeling of inauthenticity, that uncanny valley, and the judgment that you're getting from those other people. And what makes you shrink so much and get so tight is because you're judging it so harshly. What are you judging again? What are you judging? Well, myself. You're what? Which is what? Who are you? I'm Liam. That's your name. That's not who you are. I'm an actor. That's what you do. That's not who you are. I'm from Yorkshire. That's where you're from. That's not who you are. There are levels. There are many, many levels to it. And I'm just speaking freely now, and I'm just speaking the way I want to speak. And I am having to edit because I want to use stronger language. One man's curse word is another man's lyric. But hopefully from this message, something's been communicated to you. And the next time you try to push the boat out just a little bit and you feel that inauthenticity or whatever, don't look at it as a negative. Don't look at it as like, oh, that's telling me to not do that. No, it's not. That's the mistake. Critical mistake. It's not telling you to not do that. If you can make the sound, then I promise you, if you can make the sound or if you can do the movement, I promise you, there's a way to do it authentically, and you just haven't found it yet. And it's something inside of you, because the reason you're doing that in the first place is because you feel that thing inside you and you're trying to express it. And on its way out from your spirit through your mind, then it gets all this weird sludge attached to it, and then it comes out your body, and then it comes out in this weird, tense, awkward manner. And it's what your mind, the delusions your mind has bought into, that's coloring the way it's coming out. To speak with authority and gravitas, I need to have a deep voice. That's a delusion. That's why when you're going into a deep voice, it sounds inauthentic. Because that's your freaking delusion. Because you're attaching to it that makes it authority. When somebody could have a high-pitched voice and be authoritative. Who's got a voice like that? I'm trying to think. There'll be people. There's a chap on YouTube I saw the other day. And when he's talking, he'll have this really kind of high-pitched and like musicality voice like that. But he's got so much authority. I'm sitting listening to him like, I know this guy knows what he's talking about. I know he helps the people he helps. And because it's not just that surface level sound and movement level all the time. It's like, it's the whole shebang. It's the whole context of the situation that goes with it. Like you're sitting there and you're going, he might sound like goofy. Like he might maybe sound a little bit like this. And it's like, but I'm hanging on his words. I'm writing down what he says. Oh, okay. Dead freaking serious about understanding everything he's saying because I know he is an authority on what he's talking about. And I don't, just because it sounds like, oh, but that's not a deep, slow, authoritative voice. He's paid the price to get that authority. And it sounds like that. That's how it sounds. So, how to wrap this up right now. Next time you try anything, next time you feel any of that inauthenticity, I want you to look at that feeling of inauthenticity. I want you to go, what would it cost me to make it authentic? What am I missing? Oh, I'm missing the extra 5 years of practice in this field. Then go and do the extra 5 years of practice. No, but you're the voice teacher. You're supposed to tell me how to put on the sound and the voice and make it sound good. No, I'm not. Sorry, that's not what I do. I'm here to teach you how to read your instrument and go, what's missing? And it is the way you live your life. It's all the way you live your life and the consistent costs that you're willing to expend. The things, not just the things you're willing to spend your time and attention and energy on, but the things that you give up in order to spend on that. That's a cost. That time out with your friends, that time watching Last Kingdom for the 6th time, that time sitting on the couch eating crisps, the missing out on the palatableness of food will enhance your image. And this is another thing for me this year. I've put on weight. I got my double, triple chin, triple whammy stack going. And I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix my body. I'm going to fix other things about my life. I'm going to be fixing the social media platform stuff. I'm going to be adding all that context. Because it's not just, you just slap on a freaking mask and just hope for the best and try and bullshit people into convincing them that you are what you are. There's many angles and parameters in your life that you can go at it from, like clothing, haircut. I'm going to get a haircut today. I'm going to shave. I got some meetings later. I'm going to shave. I'm going to get a haircut so I look a bit better because I don't want to look like this. If I was super lean as well, I could get away with looking like this. But I know I can just read when I don't look that great on camera. On those calls sometimes. If I'm like stubbly and like messy hair and stuff, and even when I get the haircut and the clean shave, you know, it's not invisible that I'm overweight. And there's a story behind that. And I can't expect them to assume the best about me. They're going to assume whatever they're going to assume. I can't do anything about it. If they're really fit, they'll probably judge me more harshly because they know what it took. They know the cost of what it took to look the way they look. So when they're with me, they're like, oh, look, he's not willing to pay the price. Maybe we shouldn't give him money. Because maybe we shouldn't trust him, right? It's a fair assessment to make. I'm just being honest, and I'm just being real about it because, you know, it's not, obviously, I'm trying to market myself. So I don't want to but I don't want to fake this stuff. So I think my battery's running out now on this topic or whatever it is, the message I'm trying to convey to you. 2026. Let's go. Let's do it. Don't shrink from inauthenticity. Expand into it. Do it even more. Make it so cringe that people around are like, oh my gosh, who's that freaking guy? And then that feeling you'll get from that'll be so valuable. You get, because all data, every second of facial expression, and that's all data you're getting. And it's telling you everything you need to do to get to the authenticity. The more you can tolerate being inauthentic, the faster you'll be able to locate and pay the price for what needs to be paid to get to the authenticity. With this new expanded range where everything inside yourself that you're feeling, that you're trying to get out, is landing and actually connecting with people. Let's go. Nice one. Thanks for watching.